The air crackled with tension. Journalists, pens poised, cameras flashing, filled the room. President William Ruto, a man accustomed to the spotlight, seemed to carry the weight of the nation on his shoulders. This wasn't just another press conference, it was a reckoning. Kenya, still reeling from weeks of protests and a heavy-handed government response, watched with bated breath. Ruto's mission to address the nation, answer tough questions, and clear his name. The stakes couldn't be higher. Accusations of police brutality, whispers of corruption, and a growing sense of unease had gripped the country. This roundtable interview, broadcast live across the country, was his chance to set the record straight. His every word, every gesture would be scrutinized. The nation held its breath, ready to hear what their president had to say. Ruto, a study in controlled intensity, met the barrage of questions head-on. His voice, firm and unwavering, resonated through the room as he defended his administration's actions. He painted a picture of a government facing down forces of chaos and anarchy, of economic saboteurs seeking to exploit legitimate grievances for their own gain. The protests, he argued, were not about the high cost of living, but about a calculated attempt to destabilize the country. He spoke of outside agitators, of shadowy figures manipulating the public for their own nefarious purposes. Ruto's message was clear. His government was not the aggressor but the protector. He acknowledged the tragic loss of life during the protests, expressing condolences to the families of the victims. However, he vehemently denied any government-sanctioned use of excessive force. Ruto's strategy was clear: to shift the narrative from one of government oppression to one of national security. The tension in the room peaked when a journalist posed the question on everyone's mind. Mr. President, how do you respond to accusations that your government is responsible for the deaths of innocent protesters? Ruto, his gaze steady, didn't hesitate. Let me be very clear, he stated. I have no blood on my hands. The words hung in the air, a stark and unequivocal denial that sent shockwaves through the nation. His supporters praised his strength and resolve, interpreting the statement as a sign of his unwavering commitment to justice. His detractors saw it as a callous dismissal of the suffering of grieving families. The phrase, "no blood on my hands," became a rallying cry, a symbol of the deep divisions in Kenyan society. Ruto's words, intended to quell the controversy, had inadvertently poured fuel on the fire. Despite Ruto's forceful denials, a cloud of uncertainty still hung over the interview. Journalists pressed him on specific allegations of police brutality and reports of extrajudicial killings. Ruto, while maintaining his composure, seemed to deflect some questions, offering vague assurances of investigations. He spoke of the need for evidence, of the importance of not prejudging the outcome of ongoing inquiries. However, for many watching, his responses lacked the specificity and transparency they craved. The families of the victims deserved more than just promises. They deserved answers. The interview, while offering some insights into Ruto's thinking, failed to fully address the depth of anger and mistrust. The specter of the protests, of the lives lost and the questions unanswered continued to haunt the nation. The interview, a high-stakes gamble on transparency, had a mixed impact on public perception. Ruto's supporters saw it as a victory, praising his leadership and commitment to upholding the rule of law. Social media buzzed with messages of support, lauding him as a strong and decisive leader. However, for many others, the interview did little to assuage their doubts. They found his explanations lacking in detail, his tone at times dismissive, and his denials unconvincing. The families of the victims felt unheard and unseen, their pain acknowledged, but not truly understood. The interview seemed to exacerbate the divisions, deepening the sense of mistrust between the government and the people. The long-term impact of the interview on Ruto's political standing remained uncertain. Ruto's heated roundtable interview served as a stark reminder of the fragility of democracy and the importance of accountability. Kenya, a nation with a history of political turbulence, found itself at a crossroads. The path forward was fraught with uncertainty, a delicate balancing act between the need for stability and the pursuit of justice. The protests and the government's response had exposed deep-seated societal rifts. Ruto's ability to address these underlying issues would determine his legacy as a leader. The international community urged restraint and dialogue, emphasizing the need for a transparent investigation into the violence. The world watched, hoping that Kenya would choose the path of peace and reconciliation. The future of Kenya, its stability and its very soul, hung in the balance.